source. I'm not going to show a picture of myself on the front of the page because I'm standing here and you're all looking at me. So that's Arthur. This was the Okie Dokie Brothers concert last Saturday at the Cedar Theater. He is a very musical kid, and I mean very musical. Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, and Dave Matthews are probably his main contributions. And I'm not joking when I say that. He can recite whole songs with Dave Matthews' library. Okay, so I'm in soil, water, and climate and forest resources. 50% research, 50% teaching. I teach basically two main classes, and this class cannot seem to get anybody to take it, and I've done some other ones in the past. But primarily I do an intro to weather and climate on the East Bank, and atmospheric processes, which is kind of the first part of the two core climate courses for the LAS major on the atmospheric side. I have two students currently, Allison and Tom Holquist. Tom works for the National Weather Service, so he's not around a lot. I also supervise Stefan Lees. Tracy referred to the brown marmorated stink bug project. He's working on that with us. And then Phil Michael D. is a researcher, and Rebecca Orison, who still works for me but just left for Argentina. What else do I do? There's a variety of things of current service that I've done. Probably the thing I'm most proud about is a teacher with the Center for Educational Innovation's Early Career Teaching Program. Currently the chair of the FCC, and a couple other things done on the grad community in the department. And we do a lot of things with the Science Museum of Minnesota. We have an exhibit coming out, worked with them on urban heat islands, actually, that's coming out later this year. Do a lot of things with the media, local agencies, etc. What are my interests? Primarily, it's really that intersection of weather and climate. Is where I probably came in. I was hired under this land atmosphere interactions. You see it's gotten pushed down over the years. That's still a part of what I do, but I've really gotten into these issues of hydroclimatology, hydrometeorology. Most recently, I do a lot of my work is with numerical modeling. We use a lot of resources at the Minnesota Supercomputing Institute. We're doing work with urban heat islands. And I'm very interested in this issue of the scholarship of teaching and learning. What I really enjoy, I didn't want to say passion because I shouldn't say passion when I'm talking about undergraduates, but I get in trouble. But what I really, from my own personal research perspective, I like challenging, complex, difficult physics problems because I'm an applied physicist, essentially. And so I really like those types of problems. I love working and learning from graduate students. There was a graduate of this department, John Norman, who was at Wisconsin, one of my advisors, and John said, you know, the most rewarding part of his entire career was this, working with graduate students and learning from them. And I never understood it at the time, but I can't say it enough now. And of course, I do love teaching undergraduates. Just a couple of pictures from things. You know, we're really interested in kind of extreme precipitation events. There's these 3,000 or 4,000 year flood events that we've had in Minnesota over the last decade. We're really interested in what drives them. We know things like the Great Plains low-level jet drives them, and a lot of our research is centered on understanding why those things are changing with climate change. So we're looking at a lot of the physics that are going on, and we've noticed these really remarkable changes in the seasonality, that we're getting more wet periods early on in the season and drier late summers and falls. Now this year was a complete game breaker on that, but in general we're finding these more frequent extreme events earlier on. Allison's work, Allison's in the back of the room, she's been working on her master's work related to these ocean-atmosphere interactions and what we call teleconnections, which is linking kind of changes in the ocean-atmosphere system to remote regions. And so we can look at how precipitation is changing as a function of that. We can look at how temperature is changing as a function of that. We're also looking at the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. That was made famous in that horrible movie. Absolutely horrible. We can look at temperature responses to that. Phil Michaelby, who's also in the back of the room, has done a lot of work on our afforestation project, and we were able to look at the trade-offs between the reflectivity of the atmosphere and the biogeochemistry. And then finally, we have an urban climatology project, and we've mapped where the social vulnerability indices are. So thanks.